Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie and today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books that I got or received or bought for myself for my birthday. I haven't filmed in a short while for several reasons, one being I got braces. So if I sound different and if I can't pronounce words correctly, it might be because of my braces. I've been in so much pain the past week and I just did not feel like filming, so I'm sorry that I kind of went AWOL on you guys, but I'm back. If you don't know, my birthday was last Monday, so it's been a week since I turned 22. And I don't know how to feel about that. In some ways, I feel much younger than 22, but in other ways, I feel much older than 22. But anyway, I was gifted several books for my birthday, and I'm excited to share them with you guys. I also purchased, I think, 3 books for myself, so I'll show you those first. Okay, so first off, I purchased 3 books from Amazon because they had a deal, buy 2 get 1 free, but you had to pick from a certain list of books. But I was already going to purchase Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo and A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kammerer, and then I just happened to see this beauty. All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace was on the list of books that you could get for free if you purchased 2 other books, so I was like, why not? This is a new release that I already had my eye on, and although I don't usually buy new releases unless they're from authors that I already know and love, I had to get this one and I've actually already read it. I know I said I wasn't going to be buying as many books, but I mean, it was my birthday and I got this one for free and I was already going to buy these. And my justification is I've actually already read Ninth House and I'm actually almost through with A Heart So Fierce and Broken as well. So minus the last 100 pages of this book, I've already read all 3 of these, so that's my justification for buying them, because I actually read them when I bought them. If you don't know what these are about, A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kammerer is the new released sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kammerer, which is a YA fantasy retelling of Beauty and the Beast. This video is just a huge spoiler alert for my February wrap up because I've already read A Curse So Dark and Lonely as well, and then I immediately had to get the sequel. I don't feel like I need to tell you much more of what this one is about because it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Well, the first book is. This book, not so much. And then All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace is a YA fantasy story following pirates and mermaids and all kinds of cool magic. This book follows a teenage girl named Amora who is the princess of her country. However, just because she's a princess doesn't mean that she automatically has the right to rule. She has to prove herself. Her nation in this fantasy world is actually made up of a bunch of different islands, and each island has its own unique magic. If you live on that island, you can only practice that magic. If you want to practice a different magic, you have to move to the other island, and no one can practice more than one magic. So even if you're 5 years old and you decide to use water elemental magic, you are stuck with that magic the rest of your life, and if you try to use a different magic, you'll supposedly die, and it's also against the law, so you'll be thrown in prison or killed. And then there's one unique type of magic that's reserved only for the royal bloodline, and that is soul magic. So the princess, the main character of this book, has soul magic, meaning she can read into people's souls and see if they're like good or bad people, and then she can also kill them kind of by like linking their soul to an item, and then destroying that item destroys their soul. It's super interesting, super unique. And then of course Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo is a very popular book because it's a very popular author. This is Leigh Bardugo's first book in the adult category, although I would definitely say it's more new adult because it follows characters who are in college. This is an urban fantasy paranormal book set at Yale University, and at Yale University there's this secret society and there's different houses within this society, hence Ninth House, and each house deals with like a specific type of magic in like this paranormal world, and they hide all of these paranormal things from the rest of society. So while they are still human themselves, they're very much separate from the rest of society. It follows a previous drug addict named Alex Stern, and she just happens to have the ability to see ghosts. I really don't know how Leigh Bardugo came up with the concept for this book, but it's really interesting. Next, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books that were gifted to me for my birthday. First, I have A List of Cages by Robin Rowe, and this book was kindly sent to me by my good friend Olivia over at Olivia's Catastrophe. I will definitely leave her channel in the description. Olivia has been a supporter of my channel since like the beginning, and I appreciate her so much. So this book is a hard-hitting YA contemporary story, and it follows a teenage boy named Adam. And if you don't know how the American education system works, you have your main core classes like English, history, science, the classes that you have to take, and then you also have your elective classes, and you get to choose whatever elective you want as long as your school offers it. And most schools give you the opportunity to be a teacher's aide in place of one of your electives. So instead of taking a specific class, you get to shadow a teacher and help them out with whatever they need. And so Adam gets the opportunity to be like a teacher's aide for their school psychologist. But he doesn't choose this elective because he has an interest in psychology. He chooses it because he thinks it's going to be like an easy ride, an easy semester for the rest of his senior year, and he thinks that he can just sit around and be on his phone, not really do anything. But then things get turned upside down for him when the school psychologist asks him to help out this freshman that's going through a really hard time. And when he meets this freshman, it turns out it's actually his old foster brother Julian, who he hasn't seen in 5 years, and they used to be really close, so he's excited to be reunited with him. But something dark, something deep is going on with Julian, and he's keeping it a secret. And I love hard-hitting contemporaries like this. I love family elements. I love found family. I love psychology. I'm studying to be a counselor, so this hopefully is like the perfect book for me. Thank you again, Olivia. The next books are ones that my mom bought me for my birthday. Once again, my mom has completely gone above and beyond and just bought me a ton of books, but I ain't complaining. Sticking with the psychology theme, I have Brain on Fire by Susanna Callahan. This is a nonfiction story that Emma from Muggle Glamour recommended to me because I asked her about different like psychology books that she would recommend because I love psychology, and she said this one was her favorite, so I added it to my wish list. My mom bought it for me. Netflix actually has a movie adaptation for this, and I've yet to see it, so I'm glad I haven't watched it yet because I didn't know that it was based off of a book based off of a real life event. So this book follows the true story of Savannah Callahan. She was 24 years old and she woke up in the hospital strapped down to a bed. She couldn't move, she couldn't speak, and she didn't remember how she got there, what happened to her, why is she in this hospital strapped to a bed. Essentially out of nowhere, Susanna descended into madness, as the book puts it. She became really psychotic and violent out of nowhere and had to be hospitalized. And no one could figure out what was the cause of this sudden psychosis, so she spent a month in the hospital with doctors trying to figure out what was wrong with her. But then finally they were able to make a diagnosis that ended up saving her life, and I don't know what that diagnosis was, but I'm interested to find out. If the doctors had just labeled her as psychotic and hadn't really explored what was going on with her, then she would have died. This is super fascinating for me and it's right up my alley, so I'm excited to finally get to it. I'll probably wait till May to read it though, because that's Mental Health Awareness Month. I like to save all the books that I have that I know are about mental health till that month, so that's probably what I'll do with this one. And I'll probably do the same for A List of Cages as well. Next I have When by Victoria Laurie, and this is a book that I haven't heard anyone talk about. I just kind of found it randomly and I saw that it had high ratings and I liked the premise, so it's been one on my TBR for several years now, and I finally added it to my wish list. And of course, you know, my mom pretty much cleared off my wish list. She almost bought the entire list. But again, I'm not complaining. I'm going to be super brief on the synopsis for this one because I don't know much about it, but two, because I don't want to know much more about it than what I do know already. I don't know how well you can see this cover, but the main character is walking through a crowd of people, and above each person's head in the crowd there's a different date. And these are the exact dates of when each person is going to die. So constantly the main character sees a death date above every person's head that she sees, which I find super interesting. And Maddie uses this unique ability to help provide income for her family. Essentially, people pay her to tell them when they're going to die. I don't know anything else about this book besides it's a thriller, but it has pretty high ratings. So I'm excited to get to it eventually. I guess excited isn't really the right word. If you're not going to read it soon, then are you really excited? I want to read it nonetheless. Next I have Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. I believe this is an adult hard-hitting contemporary story, and this book was recommended to me by my good friend Lacey over at the channel Lacey D-Bell. I will also leave her linked in the description. This book follows three siblings, Grace, Maya, and Joaquin, but they don't know that each other exists because they were adopted. That is until Grace herself decides to give her own child up for adoption, and in that process she decides to seek out her biological family. And this book is about the three of them meeting and getting to know each other, and I've heard that it's like really heartwarming and sad and just all around great. Although I likely won't work within the foster care system in my career, I do have a big heart for foster kids. So anything with the foster care system, anything about a foster child, like, I love to read about that topic, and I think I will really enjoy this one. Next, I have a YA contemporary, Nowhere But Here by Katie McGarry, and this is the first book in the Thunder Road series. I think it's a companion series, but I only have interest in this first book. This book follows two characters, Emily and Oz. Emily's dad is a part of this biker gang, and she has zero interest in this gang, and she kind of resents her father because he's always had more interest in his biker gang family than his own biological family. And then Oz is a boy who wants to join this biker gang, and I guess like in order to prove his loyalty to the group, in order to be like accepted into the group, he's tasked with keeping a watch over Emily, making sure she's safe because this other rival gang is coming into town or something like that. I don't really know much about this book, but it's literally been on my TBR for like 5 or 6 years, so I thought if I don't get it now, then I never will. So I finally have it. Next, I have Sherwood by Megan Spooner. This is a YA fantasy retelling of Robin Hood. However, the Robin Hood character is actually a girl. That's all I needed to know about this book to have me interested, but I also read Hunted by Megan Spooner last year. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I absolutely loved it. So hopefully this book does not let me down because I have relatively high expectations. Next, I have one that I feel like I've been wanting for so long, and I just could never bring myself to buy it because it's a little bit more expensive than I normally would like to pay for stuff. But thanks to my mom, I finally have City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I really should probably look up pronunciations for these instead of just always pronouncing names incorrectly. I have been wanting to read this one ever since it came out, and I heard that it was an Arabian fantasy inspired by 1001 Nights. And if you don't know, The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Audier is a YA fantasy retelling of 1001 Nights, and it's one of my absolute favorite books of all time. So this is the adult version of all the elements that I loved about The Wrath and the Dawn. I have very high expectations for this one. I absolutely adore Arabian fantasies, desert fantasies, like, oh my gosh, I love Persian culture, Arabian culture. Those are some of my absolute favorite books to read. And this one is several people's favorite, so I really hope I actually like it. I will be very sad, very disappointed if I don't. This is one that I want to go into blind as much as possible. I already am interested in it, and I don't want to know more, especially with fantasy. I don't like to know a lot about the plot. I don't even want to read the back of this book to even know a synopsis, so therefore I can't tell you anything else about this book because I don't know. I will say though that this book is gigantic. I did not expect this book to be this huge. This is a huge paperback, and it's floppy. And lastly, I just want to quickly mention my mama also bought me A Survey of the New Testament by Robert H. Gundry. This is actually a textbook that I had to use when I was in Bible college, but I didn't purchase my own copy. I actually borrowed one from a friend, but then I bought the Survey of the Old Testament, and I wanted to complete my collection. Also, if you're a Christian, this is a fantastic book for you to have. It gives you all kinds of historical context and commentary, and it's fantastic. So if you'd like to study the Bible more in depth, these are great resources to have. Alright, that is the end of this haul. Those are all of the books that I bought for myself or received as a gift for my birthday. Thank you to everyone who sent me happy birthday messages on Twitter. I really appreciate you. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, and let me know your thoughts on them, because some of them are kind of like obscure, not so popular books, and then some of them are very much the popular books, and I'm interested to see what you think about them. I won't say you can sway my TBR by telling me to read one first over the others, because your girl is a mood reader. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish content by me. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.